Hello there, I'm Joshua and welcome to JR Productions. Today we're looking at my top 5 blockbusters of 2015. Now, I'm making a few top 5 lists just because I'm releasing my top 10 list next week, so I hope you enjoy this. And why don't we get started with the honorable mention with Kingsman: The Secret Service. I was one of the few people that knew this was going to be good for going in, because a lot of people thought it just looked bad, and I knew to trust Matthew Vaughn, and it was a really fun and adult blockbuster, but unfortunately it didn't make my top 5.
I'm so special.
Why don't we get into my actual 5th favorite blockbuster of 2015, and that is Avengers Age of Ultron. Now I know this is actually a rather polarizing film, though critically it's more favorable. It's been very divisive with fans, and it's a film that had a lot of production troubles, at least for Joss Whedon, who felt completely drained after making the film. And there was a lot of back and forth between him and Disney as to what's more important for the Marvel Universe and what's more important for the story of the film. And I'm a firm believer in you make the film the best film it can be, and if you have sequels and stuff going on, that's something you worry about in the future. But unfortunately, Marvel is all about the connected universe, and there's a lot of stuff in the movie that is setting up stuff later that gets in the way of the story. But the characters and the dialogue are fantastic and absolute fun. And that's really the only reason why I want an Avengers movie, and that's to see this cast of characters come together and just banter. And that's what I enjoy the most about these movies in general. I don't really care about the action, and even though it's got good action in it, it's the banter between the characters that I just love to watch. And that's the reason why I enjoy these Marvel movies, because the characters are enjoyable. The film itself is still enjoyable. I like what they do with the third act, which is kind of like most movies, especially Man of Steel, was like, let's just destroy the whole city and lots of people are gonna die. While the Avengers are like trying to save everyone before the city gets destroyed, and I enjoyed that aspect. It's almost like commentary on it. They could have focused more on the villain. I think James Spader does a good job, but the villain almost seems like a side character, and like the whole Ultron thing almost seems like a side plot. Like, I think he needed more screen time, he needed to be more intimidating. And that's my main complaint. I still really enjoyed it, and that's mostly because of the banter between the characters, which is the reason why I like watching the Avengers movies anyway. And I had a lot of fun with that, and I just enjoy it. So I gave Avengers Age of Ultron 4 stars, and I'm sticking with that.
That's the best you can do!
You had to ask.
Okay, my 4th favorite blockbuster of 2015 is Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Now a lot of you are probably going to be like, why is it a number 1? Well, because there's better movies that are number 1, and as much as I like Star Wars: The Force Awakens, it honestly it's a really, 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 really good blockbuster, but to me it's not like a great film. It's very formulaic. It feels like a remake of A New Hope, and I had a lot of fun. And you know why? Because of the characters, and that's going to be a recurring theme in this. Characters are important, and the characters and the banter is always really enjoyable, and you usually get that with Abrams films. I mean, if anything, whether the plot's convoluted or not, the characters and the banter is always enjoyable, whether he's a screenwriter on it or not. But I thought that it was just a really good way to reboot the franchise. It was really fun and enjoyable, and it would please most people, though there's definitely a fair bit of backlash, and I know quite a few friends of mine really didn't like it. But I really enjoyed it as a Star Wars film and as a blockbuster. But what makes me like the originals more is that they felt like films, while this just feels like a blockbuster through and through. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I really enjoyed the characters, particularly the new ones. Rey and Finn, Harrison Ford actually looked like he was trying, and we know how much he actually doesn't like being Han Solo, so I give him credit. Visually, the cinematography, the music was good, but I just didn't fall in love with this film, and it just was just missing the magic that I still feel when I watch the originals. I feel it was paced too quickly. It could have gone for 15 minutes longer just to give more breathing room. Because that was the main issue with me. They were expecting us to feel these emotions, but they weren't giving us any time to feel them. And there was just like a few things where logically and characterly make no sense. But I can't really go into them unless I go into spoilers. But I still really enjoyed it, and I give it 4 stars. Third favorite blockbuster of 2015 is Mission Impossible: Rogue Nation. Now I know that you're gonna be like, "Why do you like this over Star Wars?" And yes, I did. Okay, I did, and you know why? Because it had more suspense, tension, and just the craft of the filmmaking. I felt it's very Hitchcockian, and I'm a massive Hitchcock fan. And so that part really appealed to me more than like reliving Star Wars. Watching Rogue Nation, I was just so caught up in the adrenaline and in the action and the way they just reveal character through action. And I just saw that they now know like what Mission Impossible is. Like throughout the years until the 4th one, they weren't really sure. They were trying to figure out what it would be, but now they know it's an ensemble piece, and I love the cast: Simon Pegg, Rebecca Ferguson, Jeremy Renner, Vin Rames, and Tom Cruise is always good. And I know a lot of people hate Tom Cruise for who he is as a person, but you can't deny he's a really good actor and a really committed one. And I love the stunts in Rogue Nation. He had to learn how to hold his breath for like a certain number of minutes so they could do this underwater thing in one take. And just the action is fantastic. I really like the screenwriting and the dialogue from Christopher McQuarrie, who wrote the script and directed it. And I just think it's a really, really well-made film that I couldn't help but enjoy and want to rewatch. It's a really, really great blockbuster, and I really, really enjoyed it. And it's one that I kept wanting to revisit after watching it. So I give Mission Impossible: Rogue Nation 4 stars.
You have your seatbelt on? You asking me that now?
My second favorite blockbuster of 2015 is The Martian. The biggest thing about The Martian is that it doesn't feel like a blockbuster. It feels just like a sci-fi survival flick, and it doesn't have like massive like explosions or anything like that, though it definitely does have set pieces. But really what this is a character piece, and just kind of like it's a really positive film, and really, really funny too. I really enjoyed the hell out of this film. It was directed by Ridley Scott, and his direction was really, really great. And this is a film that it's no more and no less than it needs to be. It's just what it is, and that's perfectly fine. And it's got great screenwriting from Drew Goddard, who was originally going to direct it. This is a film that has like at least 40% of the running time is this guy just talking to a computer screen, and it is riveting and engaging and entertaining as hell, and that's a hard thing to do. This is a massive cast with a lot of well-known people, and they all do great jobs, and really it is a film that is about people coming together for a cause, and that's how it feels like the filmmaking was. It was people coming together to make this really great and entertaining movie. So I recently listened to the audiobook of the actual novel, and just every time I turn that audiobook on, I just felt like watching the movie, and it's a really good adaptation of the book too. To me, this was the feel-good movie of 2015, because it was a movie that I didn't know anyone who didn't like it. It was a movie that everybody could agree on and enjoy. Great film. I give it 4 stars. Now, for my number 1. It's pretty obvious, isn't it? It's Mad Max Fury Road. As soon as I saw this film, I knew there really wasn't going to be any chance for any blockbuster to beat it. This film is an action masterpiece, but it also has incredible depth and humanity in it. I have no idea how George Miller did it, but he did, and he managed to find a way to get all the best aspects of the previous movies and fuse them all together to make the best Mad Max movie. Not only does it have the best action and stunts you'll see, it also has a lot of depth, and it really has a lot of subtext. There's talks about gender roles, it talks about the objectification of women, it talks about society and, like, to an extent, religion. There's a lot of story in this film, and I know one thing people keep saying is that, oh, it's barely got any story. And it's like, no, it's got a very simplistic plot, but it has a whole lot of story. And I don't usually do this, but I'm going to give you a link up to a video from Leon Thomas at Renegade Cut. And if you think that this film doesn't have a lot of story, this man right here says it perfectly, all the story, all the subtext, all the themes that this film digs into. This man presents it very clearly and in a great way, so highly recommend checking out his video. From the opening to the end, I was just smiling, and at one point I teared up, to be honest, and that's because this film knows what movies are. It's not trying to be a blockbuster, it's trying to be a film. It's trying to tell a story, it's giving us all these characters, and they all have character arcs, and it's wonderful to see. It's just perfectly crafted visual storytelling. You learn everything you need to know through the visuals, and that's what film is. It's a visual medium. The mastery of George Miller's direction, the score is fantastic, the acting is so good. Charlize Theron's performance is award worthy, and it's just a film that just pumps up the adrenaline but doesn't forget to have the emotional and subtextual kind of gut punch, and it's just thrilling end to end. I just love the film, and I think it is fantastic and just a phenomenal piece of work, and just shows you how great filmmaking looks like. It's a 5-star film from me.
What a lovely day!
So that's all the time we have for today. If you've seen any of these films I've talked about and have any thoughts on it, feel free to comment below. You can also go to my Facebook page, like that, comment there, follow me on Twitter, and don't forget to subscribe. Anyway, I'm just Rich Ho, this is J Productions. Get out there and watch good movies.